Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Todd Chrisley maintains innocence, vows to fight for prisoners. Chrisley began by thanking supporters and pledging that he would continue to fight for the wrongly convicted and speak out about the conditions inside prison. "I was convicted of something I did not do," he said. "It could be you, it could be any of you." Chrisley also maintained that the trial and conviction were unfair and that he and his wife should never have been convicted. Todd Chrisley, Julie Chrisley, convicted in 2022. The Chrisleys were convicted in 2022 of conspiring to defraud Atlanta area banks out of more than $30 million in loans by submitting false documents and tax evasion. Authorities said they took steps to obscure their earnings while living a publicly luxurious life. Todd Chrisley declared bankruptcy and left more than $20 million in unpaid loans, which prosecutors said was the couple walking away from responsibility. Todd Chrisley was sentenced to 12 years in prison and Julie Chrisley to 7, and the couple was ordered to pay $17.8 million in restitution. The couple has maintained their innocence and said they were treated harshly. Savannah Chrisley has advocated for parents' release. The couple's daughter, Savannah Chrisley, has been an advocate for their release, seeking a presidential pardon, and has also publicly supported Trump. In the press conference, Chrisley blamed an Obama-appointed judge for allowing what she called illegal evidence. On Wednesday, Trump pardoned the couple. They were released later that day. The couple was not seen together, but both appeared on their daughter's Instagram with posts celebrating their release. Todd Chrisley, Julie Chrisley among many pardons by Trump. The Chrisleys were among a flurry of pardons issued by Trump, who has rejected the typical lengthy pardon process that includes review from the Justice Department. Several of those pardoned or whose sentences were commuted were supporters of Trump or whose crimes aligned with the president's views, such as a military member jailed for failing to adhere to COVID-19 safety protocols. The Chrisleys are reportedly planning to return to TV with a new series about their legal battles. From behind the towering gates of a federal prison in Florida, the unmistakable voice of Todd Chrisley echoes, not just in the sterile hallways of confinement, but across the nation. The Southern real estate mogul turned reality TV star, once known for his razor-sharp wit and picture-perfect family life on Chrisley Knows Best, now commands attention from a very different stage. But if anyone thinks incarceration has dulled Todd's signature charisma or convictions, they would be sorely mistaken. Clad in a beige jumpsuit and walking the compound with the precision of a man who refuses to surrender his dignity, Todd Chrisley is, in many ways, unchanged. "I'm still Todd. Just Todd with less square footage," he quipped in a recent recorded phone interview. Yet beneath the charm lies a man steeled by time, determined to rewrite not only his story, but the broken narrative of the American prison system. "I did not do what they said I did," Todd asserts, his tone unwavering. "I may have made some bad financial decisions, but I never set out to deceive or defraud. That's not who I am, and it never was." His declaration isn't just a cry of innocence, it's a mission statement. For Todd, maintaining innocence is no longer just about his personal redemption. It's about exposing what he calls the twisted gears of a machine that chews people up and spits them out. Since entering prison, Todd has become a quiet force behind bars. Not for drama, not for celebrity, but for advocacy. Inmates who once gave him sidelong glances now seek him out for help drafting legal letters or understanding their case files. "Todd is different," says an anonymous fellow inmate. "He listens. He cares. He doesn't act like he's better than anybody else, even though everybody knows who he is. His family has stood beside him. Wife Julie, serving her own sentence in a separate facility, has echoed his resilience in letters and rare joint statements. Daughter Savannah has become their voice on the outside, rallying fans and lawyers alike. But Todd's focus isn't only on his own freedom anymore. It's grown broader, bolder. I've seen men who've been given sentences that don't match their crimes, Todd explains. I've met fathers, veterans, addicts trying to recover, and this system treats them all like they're disposable. For the first time in his life, Todd Chrisley has become more than a headline. He's become a student of the justice system and a reluctant but cobbled together with donated law books and prison library printouts. Todd now spends his mornings combing through case law, statutes, and sentencing guidelines. He's studying appellate procedure and helping others prepare pro se motions. I don't have a law degree, he laughs, but I have eyes. And what I see and hear is wrong. Todd's renewed purpose has sparked something of a quiet movement among fellow prisoners, many of whom have taken to calling him the Southern Advocate. What began as a single man's fight for his reputation has transformed into a platform for systemic critique. And Todd is not stopping anytime soon. I believe in God, I believe in justice, and I believe that sometimes the path to your calling isn't glamorous. It's gritty, he says. I used to wear designer suits and drive fancy cars. Now I wear a government issue and walk on cracked pavement. But maybe this version of me is the one I was always meant to become. Outside the prison walls, the world watches. His fan base, once fans of reality, TV antics, and family squabbles, has evolved into a community that includes reform advocates, legal experts, and families of the incarcerated. Todd's case is being re-examined in federal appeals court, and his legal team insists new evidence may shift the tide. But regardless of the outcome, Todd seems committed to something even greater than vindication. My name has been dragged through the mud. But I can handle that, he says. What I can't handle is knowing that there are men and women in here who've lost hope. That's what I'm fighting for now. Hope. He's even begun work on a memoir, tentatively titled Unchained Grace, in which he plans to detail his journey from celebrity to inmate to advocate. Publishers have already expressed interest, but Todd insists the proceeds will go toward prison reform nonprofits and inmate education programs. Todd Chrisley, the man, is still evolving, he says. But Todd Chrisley, the prisoner, he's found his purpose. In the evenings, when the noise of the prison yard fades and the clang of metal doors reverberates through cold corridors, Todd sits on his bunk with a pen and yellow notepad. He writes letters. Not just to his family, but to senators, judges, and journalists. He writes proposals for mentorship programs. He drafts outlines for policy changes. He even writes prayers for fellow inmates who have no one else. I'm not a saint, he says plainly. I made mistakes, but I'm not the monster they painted. I'm a man who had it all and lost it, and I'm finally learning what matters most. For Todd Chrisley, the fight is no longer about luxury or legacy. It's about light, shining a light on the dark corners of a system that often operates unchecked. And whether or not his name is ever fully cleared, one thing is certain. Todd Chrisley is using his voice not for vanity, but for justice. And that in its own way might be the most dramatic plot twist of all.